The PlayStation Store is running its excellent holiday sale right now, and there are a plethora of great deals available. This is coupled with the end of the year sale they already had going on. So right now, you just have an insane amount of PS4 game deals. We're gonna do multiple videos covering the best deals. In today's video, I want to highlight 15 great deals under the price of $10. Couldn't really go under $5, just because there aren't that many excellent games at that price point, but we are gonna mention a couple of those in this video. Also, I do want to note that comparatively speaking to the Black Friday sale, unfortunately, Sony has decided to bump up the cost of some of the games, notably the PlayStation Hits titles like God of War, Last of Us, Horizon Complete Edition, games like that, so they are not under that $9.99 threshold anymore, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but nonetheless, still a lot of great deals available. And without further ado, we've got 15 game deals to go over, so let's get right into this. Starting things off, and this might be the best deal I saw in the entire sale, Prey is 75% off for $7.49. I absolutely loved Prey. This was a game done by Arcane Studios, the guys that also brought you Dishonored. Prey is a very atmospheric-oriented, single-player focused first-person shooter. Now, it was launched as a single-player only title, and then they added a multiplayer component to it. Whatever the case may be, you're going into Prey primarily for that single-player experience, and that experience is great. Again, it's very atmospheric, and the world is incredibly absorbing, and it's got this Metroidvania gameplay layout, where there are certain areas of the game that aren't really accessible, but as you progress through the game, get more abilities, items and whatnot, you can start accessing those areas and start backtracking and things like that. The game is actually a lot more open than it initially seems. There's a decent bit of content, and for $7.49, I think it's a great buy. Next up, I just said Prey might be the best deal on this entire sale. However, Batman Return to Arkham, I believe it's hitting a new low, 70% off for $5.99. What a phenomenal deal this is. $6 for Batman Return to Arkham is great. Of course, it includes Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, two fantastic games. Arkham Knight is also on sale, and you can get the Arkham Collection, which includes all three games for $14.99, but if you're just getting into Arkham, I would get Return to Arkham, two excellent titles, and at this point a little bit older, however, they still hold up really well. I actually played Batman Arkham Asylum not too long ago, and I had a fantastic time with it, and for $6 to get both games, it's a great buy. Next up, we have the Escapist 2, 66% off for $6.79. The Escapist 2 is touted to be the ultimate prison sandbox, craft, steal, brawl, and escape. It's time to bust out of the toughest prisons in the world as you return to the life of an inmate in the Escapist 2. Have you got what it takes to escape? There's a lot of variety in the gameplay and how you tackle situations in the Escapist 2. It's a rather interesting title, and I love the look of it as well. Looks like an old school title. However, there's also this simplistic attention to detail, if that makes any sense. I just really dig the look of the game and the overall presentation, and for $6.79, definitely would give that a recommendation. Next up, I want to give a shout to Resident Evil Revelations, which is down to $7.99. That's 60% off. A lot of the Resident Evil games are in the know right now, whether it be Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 3 is coming up. Resident Evil as a whole is just a franchise that is on the come up. However, there was this time period where a lot of people forgoed playing a lot of the Resident Evil titles, and I felt like Resident Evil Revelations was one of those games a lot of you guys might have missed out on. It originally released on the Nintendo 3DS, and yes, while visually it's not a blowaway title, it still looks rather good, and this version has been upgraded to full HD 1080p, including all of the previous DLC, and the game itself is just a very well-made game. Story is good, has that horror element, and for $8, I do think it's a great buy. Next up, we have Oxenfree, which is 50% off for $4.99. Oxenfree is a game that I often go to bat for. It's a game done by Night School Studio, a studio that recently just put out After Party, which is also a great game. However, it's comprised of developers that have worked on some of the Telltale games, and you can notice that, yes, this game is incredibly narrative-driven, and it's incredibly strong in that aspect. It's a coming-of-age story, very relatable, and again, great art style in this one as well. Really dig the look. It's got a unique look, and for $5, it's a great buy. Next up, we have Shadow Warrior 2, 75% off for $9.99. Shadow Warrior as a franchise is one that I always go to bat for, and Shadow Warrior 2 is fantastic. It's a considerable improvement upon the first game, and while I would say the first game is really good, again, Shadow Warrior 2 is just leaps and bounds better. It's a stunning evolution of the title, and if you want a fast-paced, action-oriented, first-person shooter action title, that's exactly what you're gonna get out of Shadow Warrior 2. You've got cooperative play in there as well, so if you want to go online and play with a couple of friends, even better. If not, the solo play is just as fun, and for $9.99, that is a fantastic pickup. Next up, we have Just Cause 3 XXL Edition, 75% off for $7.49. Just Cause 3 was a game that I panned quite a bit when it initially came out, just because it was all over the place. From a technical standpoint, it did not perform all too well. It was a full $60 game, and yeah, that fun you know and love out of Just Cause was there, but a lot of things were holding it back. Well, now the game has gotten a lot better. It performs a lot better. While I wouldn't say it's perfect, it's pretty good. And again, all of that fun you know and love out of Just Cause is retained, and with the XXL edition, you get some additional content, the Air, Land, and Sea expansion, weaponized vehicle packs, a couple of other packs, some good stuff here. And again, if you want a no-nonsense open world title just for the thrills, Just Cause 3 is definitely a good one, and for $7.49, I think it's worth a buy right now. Next up, a very good cooperative game, Killing Floor 2 is 67% off for $9.89. Killing Floor 2 was a PlayStation Plus title a while ago, but at this point, a lot of you guys probably missed out on it back then. Whatever the case may be, Killing Floor 2 is an excellent game if you have a couple of friends to play with. It's a cooperative action shooter, and if you don't have a group of people to play with, I don't think it's worth a buy, but if you can convince a couple of friends to pick it up, or a couple of your friends already have the game, then it is an excellent time. One of the best cooperative experiences you're gonna find, and now for $9.89, it'll probably be an easy sell to get a lot of your buddies to pick it up as well, and you can all jump in together. Next up, we have Superhot, which is 60% off for $9.99. Superhot is one of those iconic indie titles that have been released in recent memory. It's a very, very innovative shooter with a time manipulation-based mechanic, blurring the lines between cautious strategy and unbridled mayhem. Superhot is the FPS in which time moves only when you move, no regenerating health bars, no conveniently placed ammo drops, it's just you, outnumbered and outgunned. However, the time aspects make it one of the more engaging games that you can find. If you do have PlayStation VR, there's also Superhot VR, although it is considerably more expensive at $16.24. Whatever version you decide to get, it is a thrilling experience, and for $9.99 for the base game, I do think it's a good buy right now. Next up, we have Metro Redo for $8.99. This, of course, includes Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light, two excellent first-person shooters. Of course, we had the release of Metro Exodus earlier this year, and I thought that game was good. However, I did not think that game was quite as good as these two titles. Metro 2033 is just an excellent first-person shooter, and I thought Last Light was even better. Both of these games have that atmosphere down to a T. It's a very dark and gritty first-person shooter, very narrative-oriented, and that story is incredibly strong. Voice acting is great, and the gameplay is really good as well. For $9 for two great single-player first-person shooters, I think it's an awesome pickup right now, especially if you never checked out Metro in the past. If you didn't play it on the PlayStation 3 or previous platforms, now would be a good time to check it out, and then you can also give Metro Exodus a look. Next up, we have Darksiders Fury Collection War and Death for $9.99. That's 75% off. You get Darksiders War Mastered Edition, War's Redemption, and then you get Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition, Death's Revenge. So it's Darksiders 1 and 2 made for the PlayStation 4, and both of those games are really good. I really dug Darksiders 1. What a lot of people harken Darksiders back to is a game similar to Legend of Zelda crossed with a little bit of God of War. I wouldn't say it's as good as either of those games, but as far as gameplay elements go, that's where we're drawing comparisons from, and it's really good in that sense. Again, not perfect, but if you do want quality action games with a lot of variety to the gameplay, I do think Darksiders is worth the pickup, and it's a franchise that doesn't get an obscene amount of attention. Yes, people know of it, people are aware of it. However, I do think it deserves a little bit more attention. Even though some people thought Darksiders 3 wasn't excellent, I still thought that game was decent as well, and maybe if you play the first two titles, you'll want to check out that game as well. Next up, we have Dead Rising 2 Off the Record. All of the Dead Rising games are on sale, and you can get Dead Rising 1, 2, and 2 Off the Record in a triple pack for like $14 and change. To stay under that $10 price threshold, I just want to recommend Off the Record, which I think is really good. Dead Rising is one of those games that you can just pop in and mentally check out and just have fun with it. That's what I really harken Dead Rising back to. Just a fun action zombie slaying game. You really can't get much better than the no-nonsense fun of a game like Dead Rising. Kind of like Just Cause. Just Cause obviously a little bit different in being this big open world title, but Dead Rising has elements of being that game that doesn't take itself all too seriously. You can get in, have fun, and then go from there. Next up, we've got Deus Ex Mankind Divided, 85% off for $4.49. This was one of my most anticipated games of this generation, just because I was such a big fan of Deus Ex Human Revolution. I will concede the fact that Mankind Divided isn't as good as Human Revolution, and I was a little bit disappointed by the game, but that's really from a narrative standpoint. I didn't think the story was quite as strong, and that was a little bit of a bummer. However, now for $4.49, I do think Mankind Divided is a great buy. It's got a lot more variety in its gameplay than Human Revolution, and I think overall from a gameplay standpoint, it is a step up, and I do think there's a lot to like out of Mankind Divided, and for this price, if you want a quality action RPG, this is a pretty good one to get. Next up, we have a game that I consistently go to bat for, and that is DMC Devil May Cry Definitive Edition. It is 75% off for $9.99. So when you think about Devil May Cry, you think about Devil May Cry 5, the game that released earlier this year and was received really, really well. Go back and play 2013's DMC Devil May Cry, however. It was remastered on the PS4 in 2015, and it was a game done by Ninja Theory. Yes, Ninja Ninja Theory, the guys that have been acquired by Microsoft, and they're working on Hellblade 2. They made DMC Devil May Cry, and they did a really good job with the game for $9.99. I think it's a fantastic buy. And again, just go into it without expecting your traditional Devil May Cry title, because when you see Dante, maybe you'll be a little bit off-put by it. They do have a skin where you can make him look like regular Dante, but it's got a lot of other differences than your regular DMC title. It was designed to be a reboot. So if you just go into it expecting a fresh action game, I do think you're gonna enjoy it a lot, and for $9.99, it's a good buy. And lastly, for those of you that like puzzle games, Luminous Remastered is down to $7.49. Luminous brings minimalism to the puzzle genre, where the fusion of light and sound sets the stage for a two-color falling block experience in HD and 4K. A game originally released on the PlayStation Portable, pretty simplistic in design, however, it's an incredibly addictive game with some awesome music. For $7.49, I think it's a good pickup right now, and it's a game that not a lot of people even know is on the PS4, but if you're into music rhythm puzzle games, this is definitely gonna be a good one. And that's gonna conclude this video. I tried to get through every game as quickly as possible, so I wouldn't keep you guys here for like an hour. A lot of great deals are available, and these are just the deals under $10. We are going to open the gates and look at the deals above $10 as well and unlimit our budget, but stay tuned for that in a future video. And do remember that round 2 of the sale will be kicking off on January 6th, so a plethora of new deals will be available then as well. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.